Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. A new national survey shows Democrats and Republicans may have opposing political views, but share financial preferences. Joining me to discuss is Brooklyn Lowery, senior editor and credit expert at cardratings.com. And Brooklyn, this may be the first piece of content that I have covered that shows any sort of agreement. What's the methodology behind this survey?
Yeah, Jill, we actually thought this was really interesting as well. And as a matter of fact, that is one of the primary reasons we wanted to do this. You know, we see so much division right now in the political parties. We wanted to see if there was any similarity in their personal finances. So we looked at about 700 people across the country through a Google survey in late July. And we just wanted to kind of get an idea, first of all, what political ideology they claim they most closely identify with. We weren't looking for who they voted for last time. We weren't looking for where they were particularly registered. We wanted to see how they most closely align. And then in addition to that, how they manage their credit card balances and whether they use credit cards and what type of credit cards for their regular purchases.
Let's look at the results, starting with the types of credit cards they use for purchases. Overall, what types of credit cards do they use, and how is it further broken down between Democrats and Republicans?
Right, so the overall results of this survey were reflective of what we have seen in other surveys that we have done. Cashback rewards credit cards are the most popular form of rewards credit card across the board. We've seen that time and again across several years actually of doing surveys of this type. So that was not surprising. It came up the same again. Cashback credit cards are the most popular form of credit card for everyone in our survey. Now, that's a little surprising for some people because travel rewards cards get so much more press. They're much more exotic. People love to dream about what their travel rewards can do for them. But the cashback reward cards, that cold hard cash, is what really draws people in. So what we found is that overall, that is the most popular type of card. Republicans do like them a little bit more than what Democrats do. That's not something that was terribly decisive. The statistics were pretty similar. But then we also found that Democrats actually prefer travel rewards cards a little bit more than Republicans do. So, you know, it's really kind of interesting to see that these people, regardless of their political leanings, their personal finances, at home at least, seem to be very similar in a lot of ways.
Overall, how is debt managed? And then again, broken further down between Democrats and Republicans.
So again, as a reporter with credit cards, I do review and rate credit cards, but I also do a lot of education. And so it's important to me that people understand how to use their credit cards well. Anytime we do a survey and I get results that say most people are usually or always paying off their balances every month, I do a little cheer. And that is exactly what we saw for this particular survey. So about 50% of people overall are paying off their credit card balances always or usually. So it was a little bit more for Republicans. Republicans came in right at that 50% mark, whereas Democrats came in at about the 45% mark, but very similar, still something we certainly want to see. One of the things that was maybe a little bit interesting was that members of the Green Party, about 24% of those respondents, told us that they usually carry a balance from month to month, which was a bit strange to see. I don't have any particular reason why that would have come up so much higher than other people did, but it was something that kind of stood out to me in the data overall. But by and large, about 50% of people paying off those balances every month, that makes me quite happy. And for the record, I will say that I believe it was the Libertarians came in with like 63% were paying off their balances always or usually. So again, something really great to see. We do want to see those people paying off balances.
Yeah, when I looked at the survey, that was the first thing I thought of as well, to see the level of how careful they are with their balances, particularly through COVID-19, because everyone is understanding that savings and not being in so much debt is certainly something that you need to consider with this job environment for sure. So to wrap up here, is there any connection between card type and ideology that you noticed in addition to debt management?
So we didn't ask people specifically why they chose the card that they did, so I can't comment exactly on that. There are some trends overall nationally that perhaps could inform this information a little bit. So we know that overall, people who are left-leaning or identify as Democrats tend to be a little bit younger. Sometimes that can have an impact on their credit score. We also know that rewards credit cards overall require a higher credit score, possibly meaning longer credit history, opportunity to have had more loans. So age really could affect whether those people are able to get a rewards credit card. There were more Democrats who had non-rewards credit cards that they were using regularly. So it could be that they're choosing that card. It could be that that was the option available to them because of credit score. We just simply don't know. But that is something that stood out to me, and I think digging more into age and perhaps their actual affiliation rather than just how they lean, you know, how people interpret where they most closely identify isn't necessarily going to tell us where they'll vote in any given election, but it is something that was certainly interesting to look at. So I think some of that is there. My biggest takeaway from this is that a lot of people are being responsible with their money, which is fantastic, especially as you said, during this COVID-19 crisis. We did the survey in late July. There have been plenty of people who had been laid off at that point who were perhaps struggling to make ends meet in one way or another. So the fact that 50% were telling us they're still usually or always paying off their debts was fantastic to see, and that was really good news. So how this all plays out in a few weeks during the big election, we will just have to wait and see.
All right, Brooklyn, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.